Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack. Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With practice and qualifying in the books from Bristol, as well as Xfinity Race, Brian and I are in to talk all things Bass Pro Shops Night Race. If you are new to the feed or have yet to do so, please click like, please click subscribe. It does a lot for us, costs you nothing, gets you access to our videos as soon as they drop. So that way, like, for example, tonight when we're recording on a Friday night because the Saturday race, you know when it hits the feed. You're not waiting for that. When is it going to drop? Because it's a later race. So does it drop early or don't worry about it. Subscribe. Turn on the bell notification. Then you'll get little notifies. Hey, the boys just dropped another heater. Go check it out. Brian Twining live from his home. Brian, we got some stuff to discuss today, I think, for sure. As always, we will go through the DraftKings slate. We'll talk about who looked good, not so good, and whether we can actually apply that to Sunday's race, or I guess Saturday's race. We'll build 3 GPP lineups. We'll look at the updated outright odds. As always, go check out our Substack article, aoppodcast.substack.com. Completely free. Our favorite DraftKings plays, our favorite bets, our favorite grid rivals targets, our full betting card, all kinds of fun stuff. If there's stuff that you guys would like to see in that as we think about 2026, which is bananas, please definitely let us know down in the comments. We appreciate everybody who comments each week, lets us know who they're targeting, who their favorite DK plays are, why we're idiots, why we're smart to be targeting certain drivers, all of that good stuff. We love to hear from the community. You guys, it can get easy to get in an echo chamber and kind of bounce ideas back and forth. So always do that. And then obviously continue the conversation after the show with us in the Win the Race Discord. Jump in there for the rest of the season. It's like $40 a month. Or $30 a month, 40% off. It's a steal. It's a lot of fun, and you'll see why you want to be in it from Daytona next year. The sims are popping. The tools are up. The Discord is going off. People are talking about bets they're making, not making, what to do, all that good stuff. So Brian Twining, should we just start looking at it? Do you want to have an overall talk about why tires are finally going to be a thing, even though every time they tell us they're going to be a thing, they're never a thing?
Well, yeah, we do need to have a short discussion here because tires did nothing today in practice. After about 20 laps, they stopped getting slower. And I'm talking about like not by a significant amount. Like guys were running faster laps after lap 50 of their run than they were in like lap 25 to 30. So either NASCAR is not testing these tires with the idea of trying to prognosticate what weather is going to be like at said track that they're trying to run these tires at, or they're blowing smoke up our ass and just giving us a brand new tire that is not meant to fall off, and instead just following the company line, like Danny said about giving the idea that these cars can pass, instead telling us that the tires are going to fall off with no plan to have them actually do so.
That's what they want. They want the tires to hold. They want the races to finish. They want to be able to get on to the next city. They, much like the NFL, give us the idea that they're trying to fix things that they're not actually trying to fix, so they can keep the conversation going. If I'm Goodyear, and even if it's bitching and moaning about the tire, Goodyear, you know what, Brian? I need new tires. I'm gonna go. Wait, what was that called? Goodyear. Let me go get some tires. I'm convinced. And like, name me, this is what I was going to ask you before, but I said, well, let's record so we can do this. How many races where they said the tires are going to be different? There's going to be fall off. There's going to be action. Did they actually happen? Because I think I can think of one, and I think that is it.
I think the only one was Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Was the second Richmond race all season.
And
Every other time, the tire has either been the same or, in my opinion, quite possibly worse than what we had previously.
Yep. I mean, the dream of a better tire and passing and this and that and the third, it's glorious. It's great. It's what we want. Clearly, we're shouting it from the mountaintops. But big NASCAR, Goodyear, all that stuff, like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting my tinfoil hat on a little too early, but like, if I'm Goodyear, do I want NASCAR fans to see my tires constantly exploding, or
Yeah, of
do I
course
want?
not. That's
Yeah. So marketing 101 says let's put good tires on these cars and make them look good the whole time and not have it be exploding. And I know, yes, it would be nice. And maybe they actually do something this during the off season to make it so these cars can pass each other. But while clean air has always been king, it's even more egregious. And unfortunately, the lack of passing, I think, is going to continue. Now, we'll still see passing. We'll still see better cars. We'll still see stuff. And I think
but
ultimately,
not for the
like,
lead. That's the problem.
right. I mean, it's it's going to be more strategy based. It's like, what did you do on pit road? What did you do on the restart? What did you do, in the margins that got you to the front? And then once you're there, hold it.
Yeah. And then, so the one area that I am interested and kind of excited to see how it plays out is when you look at what we got in the spring of 2024 here at Bristol, when they brought a brand new tire compound and practice didn't really show the type of fall off that they were expecting, only for the race to have the tires exploding after 25 laps. My only hope is that the temperatures drop tomorrow compared to what we had here at practice, because by the time we finished qualifying today, as we're recording this on Friday, we still had another hour before Saturday night's race even went green. And we're talking about a race that's going to go well into the night, 500 laps. Like stage 3 is going to be 2.5 hours later than what we had in practice. So maybe that hour's worth of darkness or something will make the track temperature a certain spot that the tires actually do wear late in the race.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. And I think, we can kind of figure it out as we build lineups, as we talk through it. I think my intention for the most part is to go in expecting the tires to just do exactly what we saw, bank on the guys that are always good here and do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, while we're watching the race, we're going to have live betting opportunities if your book does that. And if you see that tires are falling off and they matter, you're going to lean on the Keselowskis, the Hamlins, the older guys that know how to manage that.
Well, and then also too, we are going to see, depending on how the points are playing out for the playoffs, like guys that are below the cut line, they're going to get off strategy, whether that's short pitting to get fresh tires under green, which you don't really see green flag stops here. But if it goes like the last 2 races, we had barely any cautions for cause. So they might have to do that. Or like Blaney did here in the spring, they're going to run very long in stage 3 and pray for that caution and just basically lap the entire field and then be the only guy on the lead lap late in the race.
Yeah. Or take 2 tires if tires truly don't matter, or if they do matter, then, we'll see. But yeah. And I think the other thing you can do as we jump in and talk DraftKings here in a second is maybe you build a tournament lineup or 2 that is more heavy on expecting that fall off, and then build a couple that are expecting no fall off. And who do you like? Like, obviously Ty Gibbs starting up front looked great, but if tires matter, he's going to be in the back real quick. So
does it matter if tires matter? Like, let's be realistic about the 54 this year.
It matters more. Obviously, it doesn't matter at all, but Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like, you know what I mean? Like, if you
Yeah,
want to build
yeah,
lineups where tires don't matter,
yeah.
and then you can lean on guys, maybe get some exposure there, and then vice versa, where tire fall off is everything, and build lineups from there. So, let's bring up the screen. I have another question for you, as somebody who watched practice and qualifying. Do we have a sporty car this week?
So as I was telling you off air here, today was my like first real day off in quite some time. I did watch practice. I did watch qualifying from the start. I watched the entire thing, but I kind of turned my brain off and took no notes. But I was monitoring lap times, and I will say there were a couple of guys in the first group that were posting some decent laps late in the run, and you kind of see that in the lap averages, which who the hell knows how that's going to translate. But obviously there were a couple of guys who stood out amongst that first group to go out.
All right, let's talk through the field and see if we can't build some lineups. Larson, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, the who's who of the 10K, all starting in the top 10. Great place to be. I think you're going to have to get this section right from an early dominator who can jump to the front, who can stay there. As you mentioned, it's a long race. It's a lot of laps. Getting that first dominator is going to be massive. But I want to start with Chase Briscoe, who's starting 31st. Practice looked better for him than his qualifying, clearly.
He's I was very weary of the 19 this week, thinking that since they clinched, they might be in like, we're going to test some shit out here because there are no other tracks for the rest of the playoffs that are even close to what Bristol presents. And they've already moved on to New Hampshire.
Is there a potential that Dennis Hamlin's done the same thing?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Denny Hamlin is NASCAR's version of, look, I'm not comparing them together, but he literally is co-owners with the guy that he kind of resembles, in the sense that he takes stuff personally and he's always trying to win, and he's very spiteful in his sport.
So I'm gonna have to get the meme out, aren't I, when Denny wins again?
Yes,
I was at that point personally.
If there was ever a driver who would not take a race off despite being clinched in the playoffs, it's Denny Hamlin this year with everything that is going on.
I think there's a reason why him and Jordan gravitated towards each other.
Oh yeah, they are two peas in a pod for sure.
Okay, so Hamlin, Larson, Blaney.
Blaney was awesome.
Blaney was awesome. I believe it was a Brian Twining who told me that Blaney's different this year.
And 100%.
He didn't traditionally show up. He's showing up with tremendous speed. So when I saw double digits on him to win the race, I said, yes, please. Thank you very much. And I'm very, very happy to be holding that. That being said, from a DraftKings specific point of view, are you more interested in leaning on Denny, who's obviously starting a few spots back? We had higher aspirations, and at least coming in, and the books had him at a shorter number. He's your favorite or co-favorite most of the places. And then there's always Kyle Larson, who was like 250, 275 when we talked pre-qualifying. Now he's ventured out a little bit, mostly because like Hamlin and Blaney. Well, I mean, I have a 350 staring at me. I don't know if I should pull the trigger and balance that out, but
okay. So from what I watched in practice, I don't know if they missed the setup, but Kyle Larson was certainly off from the rest of the leaders, from the rest of the best cars. And I know they pitted quite early. I think they only ran like 19 or 20 laps. They came in, made some adjustments. He came out and he was better, and he still qualified pretty well, right inside the top 5. But I do think that he's still going to garner so much roster percentage because he's won the last 2 races here. I'm not advocating to fade him, but I do think you get better leverage if you play either Denny or Blaney.
Yeah.
And personally, with still some questions about the tire, I want the guy who's the best at tire wear and elites at no tire wear. And for me, that's going to be Denny Hamlin. I know I've been on the Blaney train all season, and I would love to see him get a win here, but there is nobody that I want to go into battle with right now more than Denny Hamlin.
Yeah. And maybe we are looking back at this next week and being like, why didn't we play Larson? He's obviously going to dog walk the field.
You just said it. I do think there's still a possibility that Larson was, dogging it today in practice and goes out and waxes the field again.
But I am simpatico with you in terms of leaning on Blaney and Hamlin. I think I might be a little more heavy Blaney just because I think the optimism around Hamlin coming in too was something that people are going to easily pivot to. Save $500 is going to make lineups easier to build. So I think we'll build a couple lineups with each of those guys and see where we end up falling and see who we like the best.
Yeah, the only thing I will add on that is, despite Ryan Blaney being fairly comfortable in the point standings right now to advance, he has much less margin for error than Denny does. So when we're talking about making the bold call that is the winning call late in the race, the 11 is going to be much more likely to do that than the 12 who just wants to advance at this point.
Yeah. Well, and it's also going to set them up because the points don't reset after this round, right? So if he
they do, but they get the playoff points.
Yeah,
so the playoff points carry over.
Stage wins and maybe even a race win could be beneficial in terms of jump starting his round of 8 or round of 12. Are we overlooking Christopher Bell once again, or is he somebody that can be a secondary dominator or somebody we just kind of whatever?
I don't know if he could be a secondary dominator. Bell is kind of somebody that I don't want to say I'm worried about him, but I know he was on the radio last week saying, "Oh, we finished 7th and we had the best effing car." Like, everybody last week could say they had the best car if they were out front. That is literally the story of this next gen car here in 2025. So I'm taking that with a grain of salt. I know he was good, but was he the best car? Absolutely not, in my opinion. And that team has been a little off from what they were last year. And I don't think they're the championship favorite right now, nor should they be until we see them pop. And I think for that reason, to me, he's not somebody I'm really excited to play this week, because I do think other people are going to see him starting further back and want to roster him.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because the NASCAR season's so long that it feels like ages ago where he was dominating and won 3 in a row. But the season ebbs and flows, and guys that are good in February or March don't necessarily continue that into August and September. And as the playoff starts, if you told me there's maybe, obviously not this round, but maybe the round of 12, he's eliminated, I wouldn't think it's crazy. I mean, it's probably unlikely, and maybe he's just bouncing the round of 8 and doesn't make it to the final 4. But it's been a rough couple months for the 20 team, especially interesting when you consider 19s looked so good. And obviously the 11. So it's kind of interesting to see him as kind of that third banana. Very much in the Chase Elliott mold. Let's jump into kind of that next range. So we have 4 drivers in the 9K. Byron starting 7th, Elliott 16th, Joey Logano 22, and Bubba starting 8th. Is this a range for you just to kind of cross out and kind of move down as you look to build a more of a balanced build, or do you think a Logano or an Elliott as movers, or Bubba or Byron as kind of like that secondary guy could make some sense?
So I think the guy in this spot that intrigues me the most is probably Bubba Wallace, for the mere fact that he qualified inside the top 10 again. He was very solid in practice. He seemed to like his car. He's riding stress-free essentially right now. He only needs, I believe, a top 20 finish of the race or something, a top 23 finish without getting any points in the stages or something to advance. So he's fairly comfortable in the point situation. And if there was anybody who I think could surprise and compete up front, right now it'd probably be the 23.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the last few weeks, even in Darlington, he was awesome.
Exactly.
It wouldn't surprise me to see him do well. I do worry that because of that comfortability, that maybe he doesn't push it. Like if he's sitting like in the back end of the top 10, like even if his maybe has like a race winning car or potentially race winning car,
Yeah, but
doesn't
I
push
also
it.
think though you're gonna get good enough finishing points there, and also it presents the opportunity of him to maybe steal a stage win, and you're getting some leverage on the rest of the field because despite Bubba Wallace being as good as he is this year, people still hate on him and tend to kind of want to fade him in situations, especially when he's starting near the front.
Yeah. I do wonder though, maybe he stays out, runs long, wins stage 2 to lock in those points and put himself in a good
Stage 3
spot.
stage 3 is half the race.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he stays out, locks in stage 2 win while people are pitting, getting ready for stage 3, and then he could maybe pit after that and then kind of get on a little bit of a different strategy where if the cautions fall right, he's all of a sudden in the
And
right
then
place at
again,
the right time.
too, this brings up the point, like the cooler temperatures in stage 3 of this race. What if we run into an event where the first 2 stages are no tire wear whatsoever? Guys just run out the entire thing. It looks like these tires are made of concrete. And then the final stage, because we do get more darkness, the track temperatures start to cool down, and all of a sudden the tires start falling off. Then we're talking about utter chaos. And guys like Bubba, who did stay out to maybe steal a stage win or something like that, are much more in play again because it's a level playing field at that point again.
Or they have an extra set of tires that they can put on
exactly.
towards the end and make a run. So I like that call quite a bit. 8K is loaded. So we have Ty Gibbs, Ty Reddick, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, and Kyle Busch.
I would not call that loaded.
Well, I was just there's more drivers than the other ranges. I meant in terms of quantity, not quality.
Oh, okay,
But so obviously, we're out on Gibbs, but as like mid-pack options, Reddick, Chastain, Bowman, do you have the same optimism we had a couple days ago about Bowman? And then Chastain and Reddick, do you have interest in any of those guys as guys that could start kind of mid-pack and all of a sudden we're talking maybe towards the end of the race where they're flirting with the top 5, maybe they've led a handful of laps, maybe they've had some fastest laps and they're super viable in that kind of low to mid 8K range?
Yeah, Reddick kind of scares me here because this is another track where he's not great here, and so I think he just wants to get out of Dodge and get enough points in order to advance. So I don't really see him trying to push the limits. Chastain, on the other hand, he's not quite as comfortable in the point standings. And so I do think you see him get a little frisky with the strategy calls, which could go one way or the other. So he's a little scary for me. And then Bowman, he didn't look great in practice and less than stellar qualifying performance from what we've seen the last 2 times. But I think the same could be said for the rest of Hendrick, who really none of them looked fantastic in practice. And they, outside of Larson, didn't have pace in qualifying either. So I do think that HMS will make some adjustments here overnight as we go to the race. That team's been so good at this track. And you also have to account for some teams maybe setting up for the expectation of the tire falling off where today the tires didn't fall off. And so who knows if that's going to affect the race, but I think Bowman is still in play. And then Kyle Busch is a non-starter. He's completely checked out. He's more worried about Brexton and getting tuned up for game time.
Last time we had that discussion, he finished like 4th or 5th or something crazy.
Yeah, because he wrecks everybody in front of him to get there. I will not support that type of driving.
It's certainly one way to get the job done. Let's talk 7Ks. Keselowski, Buescher, Hocevar, Dillon.
Till we get to this range.
Cindric, Priest, more mid-pack guys. Are you more optimistic about the Keselowski, Buescher, Hocevar, Dillon, Priest group than the Reddick, Chastain, Bowman group, especially considering you get the discount on price?
Brad Keselowski, I can't get invested in Brad just because he's like a lesser version of what Kyle Busch is. He's either wrecking or he's winding up surprising everybody and getting back on the lead lap because his car sucks so bad that he's just out of everybody's way.
Yeah.
In this range, though, I will say I'm still on board here with Carson Hocevar. He was really fast in practice. I posted, I think, the second fastest lap of Group 1, and then he was pretty damn fast in qualifying, despite him saying in the end of practice that his car was too tight.
Yeah.
He still qualified top 12. He was a top 3 to 5 car here in the spring. We know he has speed. They have nothing to race for other than to go for a win.
Yeah.
So he kind of fits that mold of the guys that have the high ceilings, which also presents the possibility of having an extremely low floor. But give me somebody who had speed here in the past and somebody that I know is going to do whatever is necessary to try to get a win.
Yeah, he feels like a little bit safer version of what we want from Bubba. I think Bubba maybe has a little higher ceiling, but like you said, Hocevar could easily win this race. Obviously, he could crash in stage 1 and be out of the race too. So there's a wide range of gaps for him, but he feels like somebody that could swing at GPP and be the reason why you cash a big number. I think in terms of DFS, I'm more interested in Busher and Priest. Keselowski feels like somebody that I'm watching. He's a lap down, but he's running fast lap times. Bet him live at like 75 to 1 and then hope he gets on the lead lap. And
I was just going to say, the thing here is, like, once you go a lap down, it is extremely difficult to get that lap back because you don't always have to pit when there's a yellow. And yeah, so there's some discussion to be had about some of the guys just in stage 1, let alone the entire race, as to whether or not they're even going to be viable options.
Yeah. All right, let's talk 6K. Josh Berry, the Dinger, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ricky Stenhouse, Eric Jones, John Hunter, the McDriver, and Daniel Suarez. A real barf fest in the 6K range. The Dinger puts it on pole.
Shocking.
Do you have any interest in a very contrarian lineup where he's your early dominator? Okay. Beyond him.
I was just going to say, I don't even know if AJ Allmendinger leads lap 1 here. Yeah. When is the last time that AJ has, let alone started a race, but even been on the restart on the front row at a track that wasn't a super speedway or a road course? I mean, who knows? Maybe he spins the tires as we go green and he bogs up the entire, I'm going to guess, outside lane. Maybe it'll be interesting to see.
All I'm hearing is I need more Ryan Blaney on my lineup.
Well, yeah, because I do think Blaney eventually takes the lead here.
Yeah. SV Jesus, Ricky Stenhouse, Eric Jones, John Hunter, McDriver, anything there?
McDowell is semi-interesting based on where he's starting, because Spire did show some pretty decent lap times in practice, and we know that they have the short run speed. I know his qualifying lap wasn't great, but he was kind of all over the place. That car was a lot to handle there. So maybe he's just set up more race trim. And the rest of the group, Stenhouse starting 11th. I don't know how you get invested there. And
even
Shane Van Gisbergen
starting 19th. Like, oh.
Yeah, and Shane, honestly, if he finishes where he's starting, that would be a good result.
Yeah. All right. What about 5K and below? Heim Time, Gregson, Haley, Zane Smith, Gilliland, Austin Hill, Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware, Chad Fincham. I mean, if we want to get invested at the top, we're going to have to find some scrubbalicious options. Who's tickling your fancy?
Well, I've been on the Zane train for a few weeks in a row here, and I do think that he's going to have another decent performance. And basically what you need out of these guys that you're paying down at is the ability to prevent themselves from being lapped early.
And I think Zane's in a good
that. I do think they have the ability to make up spots if, like, there's a wreck or they say they take the wave around. And if tires don't wear, getting lapped here is not really going to matter, because when we get a caution, they're just going to take the wave around anyways, and then hope for another caution, or the caution comes like right before the end of the stage, and then they finish the stage and then pit with everybody else.
Yeah. And Zane's starting far enough forward where I think he's going to be avoiding the worst end of the squirrels. and probably a little far forward for maybe the field, and they don't feel quite as confident in him starting 24th as they would if he was, I don't know, 34th.
Yeah.
But he might be in a good spot.
The other guy that I'm really interested in this week, and this is going to sound gross because he's basically disappeared from all of our viewpoints the last like two to 3 months, basically the entire year. And that's the third wheel at 23:11, Riley Herbst. He posted the second best 25 and 30 lap averages in practice behind only Ryan Blaney by like 1/1000th of a second, mind you, in the session. And so at 5K, if he can avoid being lapped in the first stage, I do think you're looking at a guy that could potentially finish maybe top 20. Like, I mean, you're looking at 20th. And even if he finishes where he starts at $5,000, I think that's worth it in order to pay up for the big dogs that you're going to need here to win this race. And for what it's worth, Riley did not suck here in the spring either. I think he started 25th and he finished 28th. He finished only 3 laps down, and that was only like his 7th or 8th start in the Cup Series. So he's been on an upward trajectory as the season goes. I mean, he's a rookie, so obviously he's going to improve even slightly. So I do kind of think Riley is flying under the radar a little bit.
I like that call. All right, let's build some lineups. We'll start with the YRB, and we'll go from there. What do you want to do next?
Well, so he's going to be our dominator.
So my thought is either if you want a Briscoe, we can Briscoe. Otherwise,
no, I don't trust Briscoe to even care about this race.
Then we should scroll down and go to like the Elliott Bowman range.
I mean, you save with doing Bowman because they're going to have to do everything necessary to get to the front because they have to win.
Yeah. Chase, you want to buy a little Hendrick dip?
Sure, I like that.
Do you want to put in Mr. Herbst?
We could do Herbst or Zane.
Let's do Zane in this lineup.
Yeah.
If we need a little more cash to
maybe
get
like a
somebody, then we can pivot from there. I think Ty Dillon could be interesting too.
What about let's stick with Chevy here, and what if we go McDowell?
Sure. McDriver 6100.
Then that allows us to go back to the top and get like a.
Man, it brings us right to Briscoe. Do you want to do Logano?
No. Logano's car was shit in practice. He was ass.
Bubba?
I think he's safe-ish.
All right, so that gets us. So I think we upgrade either Zane or McDowell. We can get Zane gets us into like Priest or McDowell, or no, McDowell gets us into like Priest. Zane gets us into like SVG.
Yeah, and SVG is not somebody. I think
Or
going to Priest is good.
What's that?
I think going to Priest is good.
Where's he at?
The only thing about that is you'd be giving up five starting positions.
Yeah, but like I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't feel as confident as I do, but I feel like I trust Ryan Priest, especially the way he's been running of late.
True.
To be a lot more consistent. And like, yeah, I think McDowell could be interesting. But when we have the Bubba pivot, when we're not doing Larson or Denny, I think somebody solid like Priest makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, save it. Create it. All right, Denny.
Yeah, let's start Mr. Hamlin here.
Riley.
Let's do Riley. Yeah. All right, here. Let's do McDowell.
Okay.
You want to do Briscoe, huh?
No, I mean, so it's hard because he's been so good, but also I think the points you raise are valid, but like he's just, even if he sucks and is like a top 15 car, like I don't know, man.
So here's my thing with Chase Briscoe. Of all the races that we've seen him compete for a win, how many of those were a result of him driving through the field to get there?
Most of them are him starting at or near the front and kind of just being awesome and maintaining it.
Exactly. And so I'm slightly worried that if he's not making ground early here, they essentially do pack it in and they just try to run the laps to get through the race. I know that obviously they're not just going to quit, but cars drive much differently in dirty air, and he's going to be in a shitload of dirty air where he's starting. Also, quite possibly subjected to somebody else's mistake and being wrecked out early, driving back there with the squirrels.
Yeah, I will say he started 14th to finish 4th here in the spring. His second
That's 14th.
Right.
Starting with some of the better drivers in the sport, not starting by Austin Hill.
That's fair. And every other race except for his first one, he started closer than he finished. So maybe he is a good pivot. Maybe it just feels like so comfy to click somebody who I trust, who's starting far back and can move forward.
But he's not that, and that's the thing though, is we haven't seen him do that.
Yeah, no, it's fair. That's very, very fair.
Like he's not Kyle Larson, he's not Ryan Blaney, he's not Denny Hamlin. And I think that so many people, as you just said, he's an easy click because he's the big name who's hot right now, coming off of a win, starting the furthest back of all the playoff guys. So obviously everyone's going to be like, oh, that's easy. Let me, boom, click it in there and even win the race. Projected roster percentage of almost 40.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. The amount of leverage you get by not playing him.
Yeah, I just picture Mugatu being like, that Chase Briscoe, he's so hot right now.
All they gotta do is just show him in the during the pre-race anthem and stuff when he's got his Homer Simpson comb over with his like couple strands of hair blocking his
guy. Feel his pain. Hocevar?
Yep, I was just gonna say I think this is a good build with Hocevar.
Bowman, Chastain, or Reddick?
I'm not big on Reddick. This isn't Chastain's best track, but I do think that he could surprise. What if? Hear me out here. Hold on. Hear me out here. Listen. What if we put Blaney right here, and then we figure out where we want to go?
I mean, Blaney Chase feels nice. Or not. We don't have any dramatic movers, but that might be okay. And this could be a race where Denny and Blaney are basically just leading large chunks of the race, splitting it up. I mean, that's not really where my head was going, but I don't hate it. Especially when Blaney and Hamlin are two of my favorite options.
Well, when you look at this track in particular, the last 4 times we've ran here, Denny has either won or basically finished runner-up.
Yeah.
And then Blaney, he was extremely fast here in the spring, and he's had a couple of top 5 runs in his career. And then now we then factor in 2025's increase in speed. And so, like you said, I do think there's a possibility that this race just winds up being Blaney versus Denny the entire day.
And I also trust both of them if something goes wonky early to be able to get back through the field and finish close to the front to kind of reward us.
Whereas Chase Briscoe, again, we have
William Byron. Byron could be out to lunch if he gets it like Wilson's 15th. He's just doing his thing. Okay, I like that lineup. It's not where I thought my head was going to go, but that ends up working out. Okay, so we'll do one more lineup. Do you want to do Denny again since we did a Denny Blaney? Do you want to do a Larson lineup?
I think we got to have Larson
Or
at
do
least
you want to
once.
say call Tyrone?
Okay, you're gonna have to convince me on the build here with Gibbs. I do think he's gonna be good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's gonna be
Let's
solid.
start there and see where it goes. I'm very happy doing something similar to what we just did, where we pair him with
Yes.
another elite guy, and maybe
Yes.
he's the early leader. And then even if he does something stupid later, he's led enough laps, he's been fast, he's done his thing, and then finishes like 11th or something.
So I feel like pairing Gibbs with Larson. I know Larson has that checkers or wreckers mantra, but not here at Bristol. Bristol is his playground.
I guess my question is though, like, is there a world where Larson starts slow and where Gibbs is leading a bunch of laps, and then he comes on and gets really good as the race goes along?
That happened in the spring. He let Alex Bowman lead 30 laps, and then he just said, "All right, screw this. I'm dusting."
Yeah, but is
you
that an
guys."
Alex Bowman and Hendrick thing, or is that just like whoever?
No, that was an entire field thing. Kyle
Okay.
Larson said, "All right, F this. I'm just going to kick the shit out of you guys."
Okay, let's do it. Where should we go next?
Yeah, now we got to get really gross. So,
I mean,
I think this is a good spot to play like Ty Dillon because he's starting at the very back and just hope that he
like
survives
if
for a
you give
30th.
us a top 30, I think we're happy, and I think there's potential he's like top 25.
Yeah.
And at 5K, sub 5K, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have the optimism I know some of our Discord fam have with Justin Haley?
It's just tough with him starting 17th already. I do think it's being different.
Yeah, but we're already Ty Gibbs in our lineup, so I think we're
And that's kind of what I was just thinking. Like I feel like we have to get extra safe by having Gibbs.
Yeah.
But honestly, that could just be our own personal like PTSD creeping back in with Gibbs. Like looking at this objectively, the 54 car once again was one of the better, maybe the best car in practice, or second best, the third best car in practice.
Yep.
And he qualified on the front two rows.
All right. Well, I want to put in another Hendrick car, either Bowman or Elliott. We could do Bowman since he's a little more affordable, and we did Elliott in the last lineup, not Bowman.
Yeah, let's do Bowman again. I like that.
And then I kind of want to squeeze in an RFK guy. I don't
I'm
know.
not big on Brad K.
What about Busher?
I'd rather save the money and just go Priest again.
Yeah. The spring he was started 24th, finished 25th, and then 17th to 14th. But he's done the 3 races before that. He was 34th to 7th, 20th to 4th, and 20th to 1st. It's pretty impressive.
But I'm sure a lot of a couple of those were results of cautions and randomness. And when you look at the 3 drivers right now, I would say that Ryan Priest has been the most consistent in getting like maximizing his results recently.
So we could do average ass Chase Elliott.
Man.
Or
would that give us Elliott in all 3 lineups?
Yeah, but honestly, I think it's fine. The other thing we could do is do Busher. And that gets us to like Logano.
I don't know. Nope.
Or Bubba or something.
Yeah, Elliott is much more palatable because of where he's starting. We know how solid he is.
Works for
he's
me.
Safe.
And I think, like we talked about, because we're different with Gibbs, we have Ty Dillon, we can squeeze in the little more chalky guys like Bowman, like Elliott, along with Larson. Yeah, no, I think these are honestly fun lineups. I was a little curious at how much fun we would have and how well these would come together, but they all came together great. So they're probably going to do horrible and go up in flames in the first couple laps. But I like what we did. I think we made some smart decisions, and I think we maximized our upside, limited our risk, and did some good things.
I can guarantee you Chase Elliott is getting spun first lap, and it's probably going to be Josh Berry's fault again.
Let me pull up our thing here. I meant to do this. All right, let's do that. All right. I only added Brian Priest as the top 4? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's all you did, sir.
Oh man. Brian has Bowman at 25. I never added Bowman. Maybe I'll still will. HMS,
it's the same number. He reopened at the same price.
HMS is 150, and host of our top 20 or top 10 at.
I just added that, so that's
okay.
that's post.
That's current. That's cool.
Yeah,
it's a good number. All right, let's look at numbers and talk through it. So Larson is 2-1 on Caesars. We'll obviously pull up the other one over here and hopefully get some comparable odds. Blaney is now 4-1. Hamlin 450. Chris Bell inside 10-1.
Again, the books have no fucking idea what's going to happen tomorrow when they're pricing it like that. Albeit, I will say that's kind of the trio that I came into the week thinking were really the only 3 guys, with maybe Bowman being the outlier, who had a chance to win this race. So it's not surprising to me that it's priced the way that it is.
Yeah. Pulling up FanDuel just to make sure. Okay, cool. Do you have any interest in Denny Hamlin at plus 550?
Yep.
Yeah, it seems good.
Yeah, I'm putting that on the card.
And I always wrestle in my head about guys that won last week versus can they win again? Does that matter? Is it more important the track than whether it's back to back? I don't know.
It's Denny Hamlin. He is out to absolutely give the double times a million bird to NASCAR right now.
Well, at least I know who's going to be on our cover. Yeah. I am going to join you on that. I do want to see. I know some of the fellow Discord guys were getting down on some stale lines, and I don't really want to give those out.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in the stale lines. I know there was one where Blaney opened at 850 or something, which that's ridiculous. And then also AJ Allmendinger, I already checked this. I don't know if it was Fanatics or Hard Rock or something when their lines reopened.
Yeah,
AJ opened again at his opener price at 100 or something.
Yeah, he was 125 or 150.
Which, look, congrats to him qualifying on the pole, but do I think he's got a shot in hell to win this race? Absolutely not.
What about Ty Gibbs at 11 or 12-1?
Hell to the effing no.
Byron 12, Briscoe 12, Dinger 12, Elliott.
Briscoe's still 12 and he qualified 31st? Look, okay, if you're watching this first thing in the morning, go check Caesars and see if there is a matchup against Chase Briscoe based on this outright price. Because if that's the case, give me Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, probably Brad Keselowski, and a couple other guys over Briscoe right now.
Yeah, I can probably guarantee one of those will show up on our betting card, and Chase Briscoe will finish third and shove it in our faces.
All right, as we're talking right now, I just pulled up Superbook numbers. YRB is priced at plus 275 at Superbook.
Wow.
Gibbs is 16-1 there.
Both those numbers make a lot more sense. Do you have any interest in Bubba at 20, north of 20?
No, not really. He would have to be around that
28,
30 or something. I will say, just scrolling through the Superbook numbers, he's 18 at Superbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get him as long as 22. I am going to add the Bowman 25. It's probably a fool's errand, but I bet it in real life, so I might as well.
Look, it's a shame that Superbook is not more widely available because Bowman's 40 there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't be adding it right now.
I don't know. I've hit a couple of super long numbers at Superbook.
Let's see. Is 25 the longest I can get on Mr. Bowman?
And they're not the know-all. Like, obviously, not every book is.
Let's see.
And they have to price things to take on money, too, to
That's true,
offset.
and balance out their exposure. That's the thing I'm always reminding myself. Is it's all
a lot of the pricing is predicated on who they've already had bet on and their exposure, not necessarily what they think, like how they're handicapping the race.
All right. Rivers has 35, so I'm adding 35
on Bowman.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not bad. I don't hate that.
I feel much better about that.
Man, look, this is super gross, but Ty Gibbs minus 110 versus Chase Elliott at Superbook. If I could, I would probably play my usual play on a head-to-head there.
Tyrone?
Yeah, I would definitely lean the 54 right there.
Team 54, stand up.
I think, and part of the reason why is very similar to what I said about Hocevar, in that Gibbs is not racing for anything other than a win. Like, he doesn't have to worry about points. He doesn't have to worry about, being safe. And so obviously that's slightly worrisome from the perspective of he could potentially wreck out. And we know how good Chase Elliott is at not doing that, which is why everybody thinks he should be the top ranked driver in the series because of the stupid Winston Cup season long standings, because he could just ride around and never fucking win.
Did you see the Mario Kart standings for NASCAR?
Yes, I agree with those much more, but I do think that there needs to be a larger separation of Denny to the rest of the field. Like, you can't have a guy have 5 wins and be as good as Hamlin has been and only be a couple of points ahead of the rest of the field. That's just wins need to be so much more like heavy in the
but then you get into the situation of the SVG having so many wins, and it's really going to prop him up in that kind of scenario.
Yeah, not necessarily though, because that would be counterbalanced by him not actually pointing in races. Because I think the way that Mario Kart works is it's only the top 20 or top 25 actually get points.
Yeah.
So I mean, think about all the races where he finished outside the top 25 that he's not getting anything. Whereas Denny in a system like that, he would probably be like,
I do wonder if it leads to a few more drivers being a little bit safer on some races and not really like going checkers or wreckers, but it would be fun to see. I also added Josh Berry because I'm an idiot and it's 40-1. So if he wins, man, I'm going to be taking.
I don't understand your obsession with Josh Berry this week.
If tires matter and fall off happens, he's going to.
If tires matter and fall off happens, Denny Hamlin is going to treat the rest of the field like his little bitch. And he's going to lap the entire field and cross the finish line backwards with both hands out the window, flipping everybody off. Like, if tires really fall off, we saw this in spring of 2024, how much better he is than everybody else when that happens. Like give that to me again. I would love nothing more than to see Denny cross the finish line with a finger out the window. Just giving the good old number one, like F
be
you,
your favorite
NASCAR.
driver. All right. Any other hosts of our at 40-1?
Yeah, I think you got to get like upwards of 50 on him. He's priced at 30 at Superbook. I'm not touching that, but I do think that Hocevar, again, same conversation as Gibbs, or Gibbs was the same conversation as Hocevar. Like if you get a long number on him, I definitely think that's live.
40 are both starting. We'll see. Maybe you guys can look as the morning rolls, and obviously Brian and I not only will update our betting card for the newsletter, but we will loop back as we will have plenty of time tomorrow before the night race. Obviously, Brian will be covering news and doing all he has to do for actual work, and I'll be locked into college football and doing what not around the house and all that. But as we come up with more bets, as we come up with more ideas, we'll definitely share those out with you guys. If you have questions, don't be afraid to holler us on the X machine, drop comments. We will try and loop back as a few times between drop and race time. Very excited for a Saturday night race. I really, really, really like that. From a content schedule, from a watching football and then rolling into the race and then having all day for NFL on Sunday. Any other takeaways, Brian? Anyone else you're considering? Anyone you're trying to get on the card? Maybe not an outright, but other ways.
Well, he's not necessarily somebody that I'm interested in playing this week, but I am interested in seeing how his race goes, and that's Austin Cindric, who qualified on the. I think what did he qualify, like 4th or 5th or something?
Yeah, he's in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah, like I did not see that coming. And this is a guy, he sits below the cut line, or he sits just above the cut line right now. And this is not a track that he's traditionally ran well at. But with having that early track position, who knows what they're able to come home with. He's starting 3rd, by the way.
Starting 3rd, yeah. Right behind his teammate of the 12. All right, recap the card before we get out of here as it sits right now. Barry, Bowman, Hamlin are my outrights. Pre-stop forward from pre-week. Brian has added Hamlin and the hosts of our top 10 also to go with his HMS and Bowman. It's honestly a good strategy. It'd look much nicer if Blaney was on the card.
I was just going to say it's terrifying being naked on Blaney,
but having HMS plus some other pieces is really, really nice, I think. As I mentioned, we will update the card. We will put it out on the newsletter, so make sure you go peep that. It's completely free. Consider subscribing. We're also wrapping up towards the end of the season. We're trying to hit playoff odds, obviously, and get that going. But if you guys have thoughts, suggestions, things you'd like to see as we roll into 2026, because it'll be here faster than you know it. If there's off-season content you'd like to see, please feel free to drop those in the comments as well, or DM us on Twitter or in the Discord or whatever. We're always trying to make this show better, more engaging, more entertaining, more useful for all of you. We appreciate each and every one of you who watch every week and have clicked subscribe and are here for the long haul. So really, really, really appreciate all of you. But let us know. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. It's time to get to do some writing, get the newsletter ready for you all. It'll all be out in the morning. Please enjoy all of the content. And after that, we'll talk to you next time.